Da 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 da. What's my good chair? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes, get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never popped into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And to be honest, today I didn't even set foot outside. I'm thoroughly, well, I'm going to say involved, involved in my days off. I am adjusting to a little bit of a different way in how I'm learning. You know, lots of times I take my lessons in from what's suggested through YouTube or through my actual experiences at work or through my experiences with my family or even with strangers, and I'm finding I'm making a little bit of movement just in that time that I spend with myself in contemplation. This week we got the word freedom, and if you don't know what we're doing, we are picking 54 powerful words, and each week we pick one of these words and we tear into it, right? Sometimes we take it apart, put it back together. Sometimes we're looking at it through the experiences, sometimes my experiences, sometimes through an experience of somebody I know, or maybe it's an experience through the lessons that I pick up online. And, you know, they're all lessons. I think in all actuality, if I had been paying attention, I would have recognized that this life of mine was a total set of lessons. Now, we're going to talk about freedom. So I thought maybe we go back and look at some of those experiences in my own life. And I was actually thought that I would talk about free choice in that relationship to freedom. I suspect throughout my entire life there has been a certain amount of free choice when it comes to the decisions that I have made, or the decisions or the offerings that I had to choose from. It was always in my choices at any time that I didn't like something, or if I wanted to move towards something, or if I really truly desired, if it was important to me, right? I should have realized that I could have had it, right? I should have had those lessons. But sometimes with free choice, we go for what's comfortable. We go for what's safe. We go for what we understand and what looks familiar. And quite often that is not, right, the path that we should be going on. Those shouldn't be the experiences that we should be taking on as well. I guess it's the evidence, right, in our own lives for the people that we come into contact, because it just all reflects, like every choice in my friend, every choice in my hobbies, every choice in not getting the lesson in, or not pushing a little bit harder in my ideas. That's my cat in her box. You guys are gonna have to live with it until she's done. It's like her playpen for 5 minutes on the norm when she's in it. I think she's done. She might give her paws a little bit of a scratch on the cat litter box itself just to get the gunk off of them. But other than that, we can carry on. It takes me a minute just to flow back into it. So freedom and free choice. It must have been some kind of agreement. You know, I'm going back into my childhood,
as an adult, but putting myself in those shoes of that child that I was, and kind of looking at that experience a little bit differently, right? Maybe putting myself as an adult in my parents' shoes to recognize what really happened, what really was part of the story, and actually, right, just kind of tossing off to the wayside some of those untruths that sometimes out of a child's fear we take on as truths, right? Like I thought my mother was Satan herself, in all honesty. But as an adult, and in going back and taking some of these lessons, I could truly recognize how broken she was and how she was trying to manage to keep it all together in all aspects of her life, right? And all aspects of her immediate family's life, right? When it came to the family, when it came to the household, right? She had full control over that. Going back and again, looking at it as an adult, right? My dad didn't have much say in that, right? As long as things were running okay, he was good with that. He wasn't even home for most of the part, right? He was gone for months and months at a time, numerous times a year, right? And then when he was home, he was working night shifts and sleeping all through the day. We didn't get to spend a lot of time with our dad, but that time that we did spend was quality. That time that we did spend with him, it was lessons, and not actual movement forward lessons, but in a sense they were. But it was kind of in my dad's own experience that I got to see the evidence. And when I got to see the evidence, right, that I had an opportunity later in life to recognize it when I saw it, recognized it when I experienced it, even though, right, I suspect that I wasn't meant to, right? Or it would have happened, or it would have been explained to me as a child. So, free choice was for me a big part of it, because I know if I had asked those questions, if I had taken that interest, if I had sat with my father, right, when he wanted to play chess and have a conversation, and I'm saying, nah, I'm going out to play, or I'm going to have an adventure, right? And then my parents, okay, right. My mother was good with that, right? As long as I wasn't around her, she was good. My father, right? He was a little bit different. He really, really, truly loved his family, right? He really loved his family, and it kind of got locked in to a situation. So we're going to talk about free choice, right? And freedom, because it was my choice to stay in that household, right? It was pretty unbearable, right? For the most part. There were beautiful moments. There's always beautiful moments, isn't there? Right? But I clung to my father's love for me. I clung to those moments that I could, right, busy myself in my own adventures, because in the agreement, I'm assuming that in free choice, as long as I wasn't around, that I could go off and experience. And right, my father was the one who taught me how to experience, how to appreciate Mother Nature. And there was great rewards in there. There certainly is still great rewards in that, because I'm in my pajamas right now, all showered, right? I'm going to get up tomorrow, spend a couple of hours just getting ready for my work week, because it's my last day off, and I'm leaving the household. We're expecting +6 tomorrow. It's still January. I won't be able, right? If it was February, we would be hitting a high record for February, but it's still January tomorrow. So I'm not quite sure what the the record high was for January. Might be a little bit higher, might be a little bit lower, because I suspect that February is a lot colder than January is. But we'll wait and see. I suspect that we'll hit some kind of records this week. It's going to be crazy. I'm sure glad that I have my Keens. My feet are going to be nice and dry in the mud puddles tomorrow, because seriously, the water is not even going to freeze over tonight. It's +2 Celsius, and it's been +2 Celsius for like the past 6 hours, 6 years, 6 hours. So I suspect it's just going to get warmer now over the course of the night. They're expecting +6 tomorrow, but we'll see. No matter what, I'm out for a walk tomorrow. Tomorrow I am out on my own adventure, on my own experience, and doing something a little bit different, which is what I've been trying to uh, get comfortable with, is being my own teacher in my contemplation, right? And I did a little bit of that today, and I thought about it today. And I've been doing quite a bit of this contemplation, right? But if I'm going to be doing contemplation, I sure would love to be outside, because contemplation is a lot of inside, right? So why not, right? Get outside. And it's not a matter of killing two birds with one stone, but what if in contemplation I stumble over a realization that I'm not too pleased with? It's happened. And it will continue to happen, but I'll ride those waves as they do. But I'm not saying, right? I'm not inviting them into my life, right? I'm not inviting them into my life. So I want to get outside tomorrow and spend a big chunk of my day in Mother Nature in contemplation, right? To see, right, a little bit, because I do believe a lot of these words that we've been digging into, right, have come into this creation, because that's what it is creation, this idea that I could pick a powerful word and we can get some work done. I mean, we're getting some work done, but I thought it truthfully was going to be a lot simpler and a lot easier, and not so much of a lesson for myself. I'm sorry. I just have to laugh. I just have to laugh at that, right? Because that is that little bit of control, isn't it? That is that little bit of know-it-all, right? And come to realize, in taking in these powerful words, right? They're meant for me. And in this sequencing, it's all the loose ends. It's all the and it's not necessarily even the loose ends. It's just a matter of getting it back into my attention, right? So just as much, I'm thinking that, these are big lessons for me, and they can get heavy, right? So in those heavinesses, right, in thinking about it, like I was thinking about it today, and I didn't leave my house. I just, right, laundry, dishes, right, entertaining myself in the lessons. Do look at it. I do look at it that way. But I also understand, right, that I'm only looking for the answers, right? That idea of beating myself up, or voicing me, or regrets, right? Now there's a big one, 62 years old, to wake up to say, oh my goodness, right? In that free choice, I made a lot of, I'm not going to say bad decisions, because they weren't bad decisions. They were just decisions that took me into different experiences and different adventures, right? And I do believe a big part of why I was invited to this party was the fact that I considered it an adventure, right? I love life. I love kicking around, and I love it more now, right? And it's, not an idea of why didn't I get these answers sooner, right? Maybe I could have gotten here sooner. But there really wasn't a digital age in the 80s or the 70s or the 60s. We learned through books, we learned through conversations, we learned through television, right? Scooby Doo and Pippi Longstockings, right? Puffin stuff. Those were my teachers, right? And I'm grateful that I had teachers that were actually very close and interactive in my life, right? That I was able to recognize it after it had been gone from my life for so long, that when I bumped into it again, I instantly recognized it. And through the eyes of an adult this time, I was able to recognize it. And one lesson after another got me to a different perspective, right? A different perspective on free choice, right? That better late than never. Yeah, better late than never, right? Am I killing myself? If I'm beating myself up? I'm trash talking myself? Am I setting blame to others? No, I'm taking responsibility for that free choice. I had a lot of amazing experiences that a lot of people didn't get to have, but they made their choices too, and they made different choices. And as much as I've missed lessons, they've lost message, or they've missed out on lessons. You've missed out on lessons. I've missed out on lessons. But I think all paths lead to. So eventually those lessons will come to me. It's just in the sequencing of them. So when we got this word freedom this week, oh, that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm doing in contemplation. This is the realizations that are coming into my life, and some of them, right, are in choices that I'm making, right? Or choices that I'm not making, because in this idea of free choice, there lies my freedom, right? And we'd all like to have our freedom, but how many of us do? How many of us truly do? You got kids, you got a husband, you go to school, you got a job, you're part of your community, you're part of your congregation, you're part of the country you live in, right? You're part of this universe. We have responsibilities to all of that, right? In minute and in large amounts too, right? But it's in our free choice, because we could always make a different choice, right? We could always make a different choice that, right? Instead of that extra scoop of ice cream, right? Maybe I have an orange or an apple, right? It's in our choices that we create what we create. And I can't beat myself up, even in this moment, even misstepping, right? Even misstepping in this moment. I can't beat myself up, because now I'm looking back, right? Now I'm looking back in the past half a dozen years, and I'm looking at my choices, and I'm looking at the change that had come into my life because of those choices. And I have to say, I am a whole lot closer to my freedom than I was 6 years ago, right? Is my situation in the moment any better? Well, yes, it is, because I'm closer to my freedom. But if you're not looking for it, you might not recognize that freedom only comes from the choices that we make. And sometimes we don't want to be freed. Sometimes we like that feeling of being contained, being held, being instructed, being told what to do. But also sometimes, right, that I've come to realize a lot of those things were not my choices, right? And if they were my choices, they were chosen because I was either afraid, nervous, hesitant, right? Nervous and hesitant, same thing, right? But most of the time it was the fear with me, right? For the most part, it was the fear for me. So in contemplation today, right? It's like free choice. Free choice sitting here right now. Free choice. I could do anything. I could change anything. And believe me, some of these ideas did come across my mind, right? And whether or not I passed on them because I was hesitant or afraid or thought it was impossible, or I just brushed aside them because I wasn't feeling it, right? In contemplation, there's a lot of feeling, right? A lot of feeling because I don't want to make bad decisions, right? Making different choices, I suspect, because this family that I live in needs to rest. Rest needs to be able to walk on softer ground, being softer being softer to themselves, not so self devouring, right? And not so self sabotaging and self comforting, right? It's about that balance, right? It's not about always saying yes. It's not all about saying no. It's all about making better choices. It is better choices. And, that freedom might not come in my lifetime. I suspect that it won't because, again, like I said, we are all bound, right? I'm bound in my family. I've always been bound in my family, and I suspect coming back again, I'm going to be bound to the same family. But I suspect that if I move, right, I keep moving, and I just not be the evidence for myself, that I just keep moving, just keep doing what I'm doing, that possibly at some point I might be that evidence. And if I'm that evidence, maybe somebody in my family will will take it up and make a little bit of movement themselves. I suspect. I suspect it's already happening. I really do. And I'm going to keep that attitude because I choose to. That's my free choice, right? Being the optimist that I am, right? That's part of the freedom too. And maybe we'll take a look at it tomorrow when I get home from my walk. I suspect I'll be home early evening or dinner time, somewhere's around then. I'll make it a nice good walk and visit sisters and stuff, right? I'll make it work for me, right? And possibly might work for, right, somebody else rather than just me. That's the reward that rewards. Okay, you guys, that's it for me. I gave you the last couple of drops. I'm going to finish my coffee, taking another lesson, right? Crawl into bed, call it a day. A good day. Yeah, a good day. Okay, you guys. You have a great night. You guys have a great day yourselves tomorrow. And we'll see each other probably tomorrow evening. Bye-bye.